Hey guys, so it's Katie again. This is post New Hampshire trip, so I kind of just wanted to go over some tips and some basic information that I learned from being a newbie to snowshoeing or winter hiking, especially in alpine-like conditions like the White Mountains. So, tip number 1 is be bold and start cold. When you start going on to the trail, you don't want to be warm. You want to be slightly uncomfortable, just because immediately if you're overdressed with all these layers on, then you are going to need to start shedding layers, which can be annoying, because step number 2 is you do not want to sweat. Sweating is a big no-no. So as soon as you start to sweat, you want to start removing layers and stripping down. For the most part, I was down to a base layer, and then I did have some rain pants over my bottom layer, and if I got cold then I'd have like my rain jacket over it, but for the most part I was like pretty much down to nothing. And to help alleviate that, besides layers, is just moving at a slower pace. It will take longer, especially if you're breaking trail, to move, especially not to sweat, because I feel like I sweat just breathing. So yeah, those are my 2 main tips. And then as far as some like other tips that I learned is you want to have a Nalgene, and you want to have some type of like insulation that like REI or like Backcountry sells those insulations, like the insulated like bottle warmers. Or if you don't want to spend the money, you just use an extra large pair of socks. That's what I use. The other tip that I learned is that you should fill your Nalgenes with boiling water. So that way, if it is below freezing when you're out hiking, your water will take a lot longer to freeze than if it's at room temperature or colder. So yeah, that's really important information that I didn't know about. Some other things, you can bring like a thermos full of like a hot beverage. So like someone had hot chocolate, which was like super nice. But have a quality brand of your thermos, because I tried to come out with a Hydro Flask, Save the Turtles, and my drink did not stay cold. After 2 or 3 hours, I had some hot chocolate. It was piping hot. By the time I got up to the summit, it was lukewarm. Like it wasn't even, it didn't hit the spot anymore. So don't use Hydro Flask. And another little tip is you can have hot hands or toe warmers. Those are always great to have on hand to throw in your gloves or in your boots or in your pockets. And then some of the things that I learned, that if you're going by yourself, you should have all of these things on you or in your backpack. Or if you're going with a group, then at least you should have maybe 1 to 2 sets of these items depending on your group size, but you should really be carrying a bivvy or some type of shelter, because if someone gets hurt or you never know out there, you need to hunker down. If you don't even have a bivvy, you can use a tarp, but have the accessibility or the knowledge to know how to set up that tarp and to use it as a makeshift shelter. So someone in your group should have a bivvy or some type of shelter. And then the other thing is a sleeping bag. So say if someone gets hurt or someone gets injured, you need a way to stay warm. So it's a good idea to have someone in your group carry a sleeping bag. The other thing that every single person should have, no matter what, is an extra set of base layers, a dry set of base layers. There's a creek crossing, the ice breaks, you fall in, your stuff's all wet, you need to have a dry base layer. Regardless, and that includes like extra hat and gloves, because sometimes your hat could get wet on the way up, like sweating, and it's nice to have a dry hat going descending from a mountain, because the warmer that you are, you want to have an extra hat, because when you're heading down the mountain, your body gets much colder, so it's important to have a dry layer that you could possibly throw on. And same thing with gloves. Your hands might be a little sweaty. It's good to have a dry pair of gloves. The other thing that would be a good idea is, because you can't really use water filters in the winter. Most of the time it could be frozen. If not, then you have snow. So you need to have a stove and a fuel source, so that way you can melt the snow so you can drink it. And you should really always have some type of fire starter anyway. You should always carry like the 10 essentials, which if you just Google like the 10 essentials, you should probably, even on day hikes, regardless if it's winter time or not, you should be carrying those 10 essentials with you. And other thing you should carry is some type of first aid kit. You should be carrying some type of first aid kit. It doesn't matter how big, it could be just for yourself, but just in case an emergency, and it's helpful too for other people in case they need to MacGyver something together, that you have a first aid kit. Another thing that is a really good thing to have is a spot device or an inReach. Say you're out there by yourself. What if you're not traveling on a well-known trail? Then you have that spot device. No matter if you have cell phone service or not, you can contact someone for help. Highly recommend that. And another piece of gear that I didn't have that I'm like, ooh, like now I need to get that, is snow goggles. So I just had, I normally hike without my glasses on, but I had sunglasses that I put on, but it was like super blustery, and it was like hailing and snowing, and if it's windy, then that's like pelting you in the face. So you really want to have some type of eye protection. So like a basic $20-$30 pair of goggles just to protect your eyes and your face are something to be worth while, like a good investment to be able to purchase. So those are the things that I wish I would have known prior to going out, and those are some of the things that I learned from other more experienced people that were in my group or people that I encountered, and I felt that they were important information and they were new to me, so I figured other people could learn those things too. So this coming weekend, I'm going up to the Catskills to do some snowshoeing, but it's supposed to be potentially pretty warm and rainy this weekend, and I don't know how much snow is actually up there, but I will be taking some of these same precautions, if not more, while heading up there. So I will try to bring you guys along when I do the snowshoeing in the Catskills, but I'm going with a different group of people, so I don't know how comfortable I will feel or they will feel if I am filming it. So we'll see what happens, and if you happen to see a video posted, then I brought you guys along with me to the Catskills. So this is Katie signing out till next time. Bye.